Dan from New Guy's Garage is trying to build the ultimate carburetor, but he needs a way to test the flow of this new carburetor, and he came up with a pretty clever idea on how to do that. So he messaged me to see if I could build a carburetor to shopvac adapter. This way he can simulate a vacuum on the carburetor as if it was attached to an engine without it actually being attached to an engine. So why would Dan want me to make this adapter for him? Well, it's pretty simple. I'm actually a really big nerd and I have a 3D printer. Now I think this is going to be pretty simple. My idea is we'll just have we'll take like a carb spacer, which that's a very bubbly carb spacer, but you get the idea. And then we'll make a pyramid in the middle with a round part that we can connect the shop vac to. So from the side, we'd get kind of a, like this is our carb plate. It would come up kind of like this and like that. So now I have to model all of this on the computer so that we can print it out on the 3D printer. So thankfully somebody has already done the hard work for me, and that's modeling that carb spacer. We've got this one right here that I found on Thingiverse, which is a repository for free 3D models for 3D printers and CNC machines and that sort of thing. This person, Official Ace Freely, thank you so much for making this. This is going to make my life a whole lot easier. Now that we have our carb spacer model sorted out, we need to build the attachment point for the shop vac. In order to do that, I'm going to measure the inside diameter of this shop vac attachment, and we can use that on our model to match this same measurement. I'm going to go ahead and measure that with my fancy calipers, you know, the smart man's measuring tool. And since I'm using such a smart tool to measure things, I need to look the part. Ah, that's better. Okay. All right, we'll go ahead and zero out our calipers. Get the inside measurement here. And our inside diameter is approximately 45 millimeters. Oh, millimeters, I mean it is about 1.76 inches. Yeah. Now that we've got our carb spacer model and I've measured that shop vac attachment, I'm going to go ahead and build this adapter for Dan. I've been working for a few minutes. This is what I've come up with. I'm going to go ahead and put this on an SD card, and then we're going to head over to the 3D printer. Okay, so we're going to take our SD card with our model on it, stick it in the printer. We'll turn this guy on. Now there are many different types of 3D printers, but this one is a Creality Ender 3 with some modifications that I've built onto it. Well, as you saw, that 3D print failed. It didn't finish. As you can see, there's no top part. After some investigating on my printer, I figured out that one of the little gears on my extruder, the screw came loose, and so it was not spitting out filament the way it was supposed to. It came loose halfway through the print. But there are some other issues with this print that we're going to have to address. The first thing is, let's see, can you see how this corner is curved like this? It's supposed to be straight, kind of like this one. All the corners are straight except for this one. It lifted off of the bed and created that curve. Now that's not going to work for us because we need it to seal to the carburetor, and that's just not going to work. The other major problem, see if I can get this on camera, on the inside in here, there's a lot of little filament deals that are popping up, and that is because the printer was trying to bridge this gap without any support underneath. So we definitely need some supports under here to prevent that from happening. And that's pretty much it. So our three main problems, you know, with the lifting, with it not finishing, of course, and with the lack of support under here, I think I'm going to make some adjustments on the computer to our in our slicer software. That's the software that prepares the file for the printer. And then we're going to run this again. Alright, and we succeeded! Check it out. Here's our shopvac carburetor adapter. Now it still needs a little bit of touch-up. I'm going to sand this surface to make it a little more smooth because it's a little bit rough. But we didn't have the issues on the inside. All of our corners are square like they're supposed to be, and it finished. But there is actually a problem with this model as well. I tested this, and this fits perfect on my shopvac. My measurements for this part were spot on. So I'm pretty impressed with that. However, when I messaged Dan, he said that it looked big. Our conversation went like this on Discord. So what I'm going to do instead of remaking this is I'm going to take Dan's suggestion and build an adapter that goes from this 1 3/4 inch inside diameter here down to 1 1/4 inch inside diameter, so it will fit Dan's tiny shopvac. This is going to save me a lot of time because this literally took something like 28 hours to print, and just building a little adapter should take far less time. So let's go back to the computer and design ourselves a little adapter. our adapter printed fine the first time. And this will adapt this down to Dan's tiny shop vac. Now I was sure to add a ledge here and also a ledge on the inside there so that this wouldn't fall through our carb adapter, and also that way Dan can't shove his tiny shop vac too deep in there. If you are interested in a carb shop vac adapter and this little tiny shop vac adapter, I put them on Thingiverse. So go ahead and check the link in the description if you're interested in printing your own. Also, if you've got ideas on how to improve this, you can go there and remix it, modify it yourself. These will be going in a box and then in the mail over to Dan, and hopefully this helps with his XMC project. Thanks for watching this video, and remember, it's always okay to be a multifaceted nerd.